This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
All right, so I decided to cut this thing up into two pieces. So this is the very abrupt intro into the second part. So, hey, hi, hello there. Welcome to the second part of me losing my shit over Abbey Sharp. We are doing a dark anthropology / light 48 laws of manipulation, 48 laws of power manipulation. With Abbey Sharp and her most recent video, How I've Changed Ozempic, HAES, and Intuitive Eating, and more. So I went way too long. I decided to cut this up into two pieces. This is the intro for that. If you want the longer intro, I do recommend going back and watching at least the first part, the first few minutes of part one. And that will be linked down below in the discussion. Description. I don't know why I call it the discussion, but I do. Down below. There will be some other videos linked down below as well. I don't exactly know where the video is going to get split at this moment, which is why the intro is a little wonky, but she is sped up to time and a quarter. Trying to remember what else I need to say. Thank you to everybody who's supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to my very cranky, misbehaving cat. He's mad at me right now. And I think we should just jump in and get the second half of this video going. So let's just go.
Up, let's talk about supplements. So just over a year ago, I launched a supplement line, New Theory. And we really came into this with the mission to revolutionize a supplement industry that is largely unregulated, chaotic, and like one giant hot mess. And
Yes, but Abby's are not. Abby's line is different.
I got a lot of comments calling me a sellout, a grifter, and a liar. But there was a lot that went into this decision that many people did not give me credit for. And that's
Kind of like how there's a lot that goes into the decision of taking Ozempic and GLP-1s that a lot of people don't take into Oh,
totally fine. I don't expect credit for this, but I did
don't you though?
just kind of want to clear the air. Throughout my career, I have always been supportive of a well thought out supplement regimen. I
Really? Is that why you go after people who have them?
actually can't even remember a time in my adult life where I haven't taken some kind of supplements. Now, of course, as a dietitian, I am all for a foods first approach wherever possible. But I've also been very consistent in my messaging of trying to make nutrition less stressful, not more. And I don't want people to have to obsess over every meal being nutritionally perfect when there are so many other things that we should be thinking about in life. So to me, supplements can be a really great way to help you meet your nutrition needs effortlessly and conveniently so you don't have to stress about every bite of food.
This is a commercial, by the way, if you haven't picked up on that. This is an ad for Abby's supplements.
And in specific circumstances like nutrient deficiencies, they are definitely indicated. I've personally found supplements to be extremely useful for meeting my nutrient needs and providing symptom relief at different points in my life. And I've shared a lot of those different things that I found helpful way before I decided to venture into the industry with the goal of trying to change it. But with all that said, not all supplements are created equal.
My supplements are best supplements.
It is true that I have reviewed a lot of influencer and celebrity created supplements over the years.
That is true.
And in many
And usually she finds them to be garbage because Abby has a degree in testing supplements.
cases, I've called him out. But my main pushback has never been all supplements are bad. It's because the lack of industry regulation paves the way for crazy misleading claims and ingredients that A, aren't backed by research, B, are provided in window dressing doses that are really too small for them to do anything, and C, are not third-party tested for safety and purity. And that's why all New Theory products will always be third-party tested with results posted publicly, because we really do believe that that should be the industry standard. Ultimately, I will never ever tell you that you need a protein powder over like a whole food protein source. But if you find that supplements are a helpful way to meet your goals, then I want to provide you with the best options on the market.
We're not skipping this part because I want you to watch this part, because we might start going over more of Abby's stuff just so we can come back to this video and maybe take pieces of this video out and compare it to the shit that she pulls on other people.
So yes, I am a dietitian with a supplement brand. And you know what? I am so proud to put my name behind this brand because it is.
I would hope it's got your name on it. She says, I want to provide you with the best options on the market. This is, again, narrative control. This is framing her supplements as the gold standard, right? Her supplement, like I said earlier, her supplements is best supplements. There is no supplement on the market better than her supplement. Her supplements are going to blow your mind, supplements, right?
Is by far.
And then she says, we will be in a money-losing scenario. Oh, hang on.
The best on the market. I am not here to scam you with low-quality products for a quick buck. Honestly, we will be in a money-losing scenario for a few years as these products are just so expensive to produce. But I'm just so passionate about this because I really do think that by creating enough noise, I can really help to revolutionize the industry and make it better and a safer experience for everyone. Okay, the next topic might...
Sorry. She says, honestly, we will be in a money-losing scenario for years. This is a transactional altruism because she's positioning herself as in a profit-loss situation, but it's for your benefit. She's sacrificing profit for your benefit because she wants to make sure that you're getting the best supplements on the market at her cost, at a cost to her, right? But she's also using this as moral masking, and she's controlling the language by controlling the perception of truth. She's preemptively framing her pride and integrity and shielding herself against accusations of grifting. Like, I think she even says, I was called a grifter when I came out with this. And she was. She got a lot of negative feedback, especially by the vegan community for some strange reason. But she got a lot of negative feedback when she came out with her supplement line because she trashed so many other people's supplement lines, like trashed so many other people's supplement lines, and then comes out with her own, right? And from my understanding, it's not that different from other people's. So anyway, I also am not capable of chemically testing vitamin lines, so I have to take other people's words on it too, but I don't think anybody who tested her shit was also capable of this. So I don't know. I don't know how they go about this shit. They just throw mud at each other, basically. But yeah, this is a lot of moral masking. She's being strategically performative. She's pulling herself up and above other celebrity supplements, other content creator supplements. I don't remember if she went after Alan or not. I really don't remember. I won't be terribly surprised if she did. I really won't be surprised if she did. But this is also Law 32, playing into people's fantasies. I'm a dietitian with a supplement brand, but I'm doing it right, right? She's selling the fantasy of an ethical entrepreneur. She's not compromising her credibility with commerce. Remember, again, I'm not making a profit here. I'm doing this at a profit loss because I want to make sure that you're getting the gold standard for supplementation. And then, of course, many times throughout this commercial, she's like, I think getting your protein through food sources is the best way to do it. So I will never tell you that you should supplement with a protein powder. But if you feel like you would benefit from a protein powder, I have a protein powder, that kind of thing.
Ruffle a few feathers.
We're not there
but
yet.
We're going to be talking about health at every size, aka HAES. So first, the good. I made this video 5 years ago or so speaking to the benefits of HAES, which I still absolutely do agree with. There are a lot of things that I really respect about the HAES movement. So for example, its weight neutral approach, social justice framework, and the work to reduce anti-fat stigma and provide accessible care for all. But HAES also...
I will say this, and I will link Sam's video down below only because, and I'll see if I can't timestamp it too. Sam has nicer things to say about HAES here, but I think Sam also was, I won't say part of HAES, early HAES, which is completely different than modern HAES. I never was I never fell for it. I always thought it was stupid. I'm not saying I never fell for HAES. I'm not trying to be like that. Sam has some personal experience in the movement. I don't even know if we want to call it that, but it did sound like Sam had some positive experience with the early phases of HAES, I guess is where I want to go with that. So I think I would refer you guys to Sam's video for this tiny portion here, because I have nothing nice to say about HAES. And that is unfortunate, because I have nothing nice to say about HAES. Sam did have a couple nice things to say about HAES, and I know a few of you in my comment section have had nice things to say about the early phases of HAES. So, but then Sam also very quickly said things went south fast when HAES got on the internet, because the fat acceptance people grabbed onto HAES and just instantaneously started twisting it to mean things like don't lose weight, continue being fat, be as unhealthy as humanly possible, that kind of thing. So Sam has a different take with HAES than I do, because Sam has personal experience with HAES and I do not. So that's why I'm trying to like, I'll link Sam's video down below, and I'll see if I can't timestamp it to get you roughly in this area. But I'm just warning you guys. I don't like HAES. I don't like intuitive eating. I don't like the weird woo-woo science shit she's going to talk about here at the end. I'm just letting you know, from here on out, I get a little rough, because I was being nice before. Anyway. What are we at? 12? Oh, no, I wasn't done talking about her stupid supplement line. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to talk about more moral masking. She's using altruism as a justification for monetization and influence, talking about her like revolutionizing the supplement field. You know, she's better than all the rest of them. That's moral masking. I think I got my notes mixed up is what happened here. I think that's exactly what happened here. That's all right though. It wasn't that important. I made my point. Anyway, let's talk about HAES.
Who does challenge a lot of traditional scientific knowledge in the weight loss space.
It doesn't challenge shit. It makes shit up. That's not challenging. Pseudoscience does not challenge science. Pseudoscience is pseudo, false, fake, not real.
Namely, that weight is not a significant driver of health outcomes.
It is.
Now, near the start of my career, after recovering from an ED and really feeling like I had been kind of saved by anti-diet and intuitive eating movements, there seemed to be this really big push towards the kind of HAES approach within the intuitive eating or anti-diet community. And it got to the point where it almost felt like if you even acknowledged any legitimate health risks of obesity, like type 2 diabetes or some cancers, liver damage, whatever, that you were like a traitor, because all of those things...
It seemed that way? It is that way. But go on.
Could actually be explained by the impact of weight stigma. You couldn't even say the word obesity without getting called out.
Yeah, it's still like that.
Which really gave way to like these very lengthy 20-minute long disclaimers in every video.
Yes, I noticed. Or using asterisks in the word obesity, to the point where YouTube, if you type the word obesity in the comments sections, I don't know how many of you know this, because I don't know how many of you have your own channels, but YouTube will pull comments, and there's 2 levels to pulled comments, right? YouTube will just automatically pull certain comments for me. And one of them is held, they're called held. One level is just like basic held comments, where it's just like, this comment might be a little iffy. I can never really know. I don't really know why, because I'm always like, why the did you pull this comment? Because it's not even like a swear word. I can never figure it out, honestly. But then there's another layer, and that's where that comment was. And it's hidden comments. Okay? These are where the really egregious ones go. The really bad comments go here. I have to tell YouTube that I want to see those comments. And it goes, are you sure? these are really bad comments. And I have to go, yes, YouTube, I'm sure I want to see these comments. And then it'll show me the hidden comments. And do you know what words are in the hidden comments, you guys? Obesity. I shit you not. I lost my own train of thought there. Choo-choo.
It was actually a really stressful experience as a creator because I was just always worried about offending someone. But
I'm so sorry that you were worried about offending people over stating true facts that were backed by science. I'm very sorry that you, as a professional, as a trained professional in a soft science, if not semi-hard scientific field, were more worried about offending people than you were about explaining true, factual things to people about their health and diet. I'm terribly sorry, Abby, that you were so freaking stressed out about the word obesity and explaining health outcomes to overweight and morbidly obese individuals than you were about keeping people healthy. You know, that thing that you went to school to do as a dietitian. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better now.
But today, my perspective is a lot more nuanced. As I often say
There's nothing nuanced about it. Anyway, let's go.
now, I support body autonomy, and I want to meet people where they are. So for one person, a more weight-neutral approach is going to feel supportive.
All right, this is where my note, play into people's need to believe to create a cult-like following, comes in. This is Law 27. She's creating her own lexicon. I don't think she's gotten there yet, but here we are. She uses the words food freedom and body kindness and hunger-crushing combos. She's using these phrases to encourage the audience to form an allegiance to her brand and her ideology. She's not the only person to use these words. She just chooses to use these words because they are kinder and softer and less on the nose. She says, I support body autonomy and I don't censor science. This is ritualized deception. She's trying to use complexity and trying to make it appear as a virtue. She made things too complex in the past, but that was because it was a virtue, you guys. You just wouldn't understand. And she's using opposing beliefs and she's trying to make that appear like she was being virtuous in the past. Like, I didn't want to upset people, so I purposefully cherry-picked science and I didn't bring up truth and I lied in order to make people feel better. And then the Law 45, preach the need for change but never change too much. She's trying to walk the line between HAES and weight loss advocacy because she's trying to avoid alienation here. She's like, two things can be true sometimes, but not when it comes to science. I mean, not very often when it comes to science.
Whereas for others, intentional weight loss is going to be desired. I also don't censor science, so while it is true that weight stigma does affect health,
the obesity stigma, important considerations for public health. This one, I remember watching this one.
And around 10 to 25% of obese
Distinction of metabolically, quote, healthy from, quote, unhealthy obese individuals. Define those two words, which is not done. She's just throwing, does she link these? Give me a second. Oh, there we go. Hang on. Prevalence and severity of obesity are dramatically increased throughout the world. This is a review. A review of what? Therefore, it will become more important to distinguish obese individuals at high risk for obesity-related metabolic disease from those who are metabolically healthy. What does that mean? This review focuses on recent evidence suggesting that normal adipose tissue function contributes to the healthy obese. What? Hang on, I read this wrong. The prevalence and severity of obesity are dramatically increasing throughout the world. Obesity causes a decline in life expectancy due to its associated metabolic and cardiovascular comorbid disorders. Okay? We're not disputing that obesity causes this. What is the point of this? Therefore, it will become more important to distinguish obese individuals at high risk for obesity-related metabolic disease from those who are metabolically healthy. To distinguish obese individuals at high risk for obesity-related metabolic diseases from those who are metabolically healthy. This review focuses on recent evidence suggesting that normal adipose tissue function contributes to the healthy obese phenotype. They are suggesting there's a healthy obese phenotype? Majority of individuals with obesity develop insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, gout, hypertension, and cardiovascular disease. However, approximately 10 to 25% of obese individuals are metabolically healthy, most likely due to preserved insulin sensitivity. Recent studies suggest that inflammation of visceral adipose tissue, ectodermic fat deposition, and adipose tissue dysfunction mediate insulin resistance independently of body. Lost my place. I don't know. And adipose tissue dysfunction mediate insulin resistance in human obesity independently of total body fat mass. This suggests that mechanisms beyond a positive caloric balance, such as inflammation and release, determine the pathological metabolic consequence in patients with obesity. Recommendations for obesity treatment should distinguish the metabolically healthy from unhealthy obese phenotype to identify early the obese person who will benefit the most from losing weight. In addition, novel anti-obesity treatment strategies targeting adipose tissue dysfunction are needed. What did you review? So 10 to 25% of the obese individuals are metabolically healthy, even though the majority of individuals with obesity will develop a whole bunch of shit. Recent studies, this is just the abstract, there's no actual paper for me to look at here, suggest the inflammation of visceral adipose tissue and adipose tissue dysfunction mediate insulin resistance independently of total body fat mass. Mechanism beyond a positive caloric balance, such as inflammation and adipose. I don't know what that is. Release determine. What were you saying?
As I often say now, I support body autonomy and I want to meet people where they are. So for one person, a more weight neutral approach is going to feel supportive, whereas for others, intentional weight loss is going to be desired. I also don't censor science, so while it is true that weight stigma does affect health and around 10 to 25% of obese folks are considered metabolically healthy.
Wow, that was a reach. Abby, your problem is not okay, but you do the problem.
This is cherry picking, by the way. Abby is cherry picking like she always does.
This is a really good example of Abby cherry picking. There is a line in this abstract of this paper that Abby did not read, by the way, that says that 10 to 25% of obese people are considered metabolically healthy. Okay? Which means they haven't developed the myriad of shit that can go wrong with you when you're obese. Okay? That means everyone else will. But the reason for this paper is to try to figure out why. All right? And it has nothing to do with weight stigma. These two papers that she just threw together have nothing to do with each other. All right? But Abby just threw them together very quickly without explaining that to make it seem like they did. And if you're not paying attention like I was, you won't catch that. And this is why I fucking hate when Abby does this shit. This paper is not about 10 to 25% of the obese population being metabolically healthy. It's trying to figure out why they are and how best to serve the obese population and get them to a healthy weight. But again, she hasn't read the full ass paper. I don't know what they're reviewing. Neither does she, unless she literally paid for this paper, which I highly doubt she did. And this is why I don't like fat acceptance and health at every size, because they do this shit. Oh, I found a title to a paper and I barely read the abstract, but there's a line in there that says 25% of the obese population's healthy. No, that's not what it said, but okay. I mean, those words are there, but that's not what this paper's about. Anyway. All right, let's keep going.
Which are
How
core
long is this
messages
video
in
in
HAES
now?
spaces, we still do
Motherfucker.
know that obesity and excess fat is a major driver of chronic disease.
Yes, because though 10 to 25% of us may be metabolically healthy, the rest of us aren't.
Research even shows that even a modest 5 to 10% weight loss can have significant physical health benefits, not to mention the profound effects on emotional well-being and quality of life. And even if you're losing weight for aesthetic reasons, who am I to decide that that is not best for you? Like,
You've been literally judging people for doing that your entire career on YouTube. Like literally up to this video, that has literally been what you've doing. If it is especially a skinny white woman, you tear them apart for maintaining a thin, healthy physique. Like their diet is restrictive. They clearly have an ED. You wouldn't want to look like, oh, wait. Huh.
as long as it's not promoting harmful messages to the masses or coming at the expense of your health,
Which you always seem to determine that it is.
it's really not for me to condemn. But when I see a very
Unless it's you. Somehow you never fall into that category.
irresponsible what in a day video slammed with falsehoods and insanely problematic tips, I am 100% always going to take it down. Bottom
Which is every time she watches a video like that.
line, I do think that two things can be true. We can fight for systemic change, kindness, and accommodations towards larger body folks, and we can fight for better solutions and treatments if people do seek weight loss as a way to improve their quality of life. So
I'm just going to keep repeating things because I've already said what I've needed to say, but it still fucking irritates me when she says shit like this, as if she's not being a hypocrite. Okay? The problem with Abby is the amount of time it would take me to go through her 700 and some odd videos up to this point to find and explain to you why that statement is so wildly fucking hypocritical. I literally do not have that kind of time. And I don't want to be like, just trust me, bro. But Jesus Christ.
So that's really where I'm at when it comes to weight loss today. Okay, moving on to a related topic, intuitive eating. I have made a lot of intuitive.
Okay, literally, we can fight for systematic change and better weight loss treatments. This is ritualized deception. This is lying. She is setting up a binary as a false choice and then claims to transcend it. Remember what I just said? I do not have the time to go through her video catalog and explain to you why that statement is so wildly hypocritical. So anyway.
Intuitive eating content because it's really an evidence-based framework that
It's not. It's not. If intuitive eating worked, people wouldn't have problems with it. We wouldn't be fat. And period. End of discussion. Some of you in my comment section, I always have a few of you who are like, intuitive eating works great for me. cool. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I do not believe intuitive eating works. Because if intuitive eating works, people wouldn't have problems with food. That's the issue. The way that our food systems work today, especially in America and in most industrialized nations, the way food science works today is our garbage food is so fucking addictive, you can't intuitive eat. It is literally designed to make you addicted to it. You cannot not be addicted to food. Even things that don't appear to be engineered to be addictive are. So I do not believe that intuitive eating can work. I also do not believe that there's science proving that intuitive eating works. All right? A whole foods based diet, yeah, you probably will not overeat all that much on a whole foods based diet because like the fiber alone will not allow you to overeat that much. But I still think you could overeat. All right? I still think it is possible. All right? My animals will not intuitively eat. My one little cat, the one little 8-pound cat that I have, she will stop eating when she's done. Sometimes she undereats. Like the vet is actually concerned that she may lose weight. All right? The two boys, if I don't keep their food, if I don't manage their food, they'll fucking... Animals will not intuitively eat. Okay? Intuitive eating is like... cool. There's maybe like, okay, 10 to 25% of the population can intuitively eat. The rest of our asses can't. All right? I do not believe in intuitive eating, and I do not believe when Abby says that it's scientifically backed, especially after this next part of this fucking video. Go.
It has been truly life-changing for me and also so many others.
I'm so glad that intuitive eating worked for you, Abby.
But in my early days, again, when I was probably a lot more caught up in kind of the more strict anti-diet HAES community,
Again, she's going back to the whole like strategic victimhood and her narrative control, going back to when I was young and innocent and I didn't know any better and I was still recovering from my own issues. Going back to that, you know, she's doing that again. Because now she's going to be like, oh, well, back when I was young and innocent and didn't know any better, I just accused everybody of who couldn't do intuitive eating. Gee, Abby. I accused everybody who couldn't do intuitive eating of just not trying hard enough. So which is it, Abby? Is intuitive eating scientifically backed and functional for people, or can not everyone do it?
I think I likely presented intuitive eating as something that everyone should be able to do because it's an innate skill. And that...
It's not an innate skill. I just got done explaining to you why.
Was probably unfair. So like when people would say to me, well, that doesn't work for me, I would default to the commonly cited explanation that it's because you're still stuck in diet mentality. So if you want to learn to eat intuitively, you have to stop wanting to lose weight. So this of course means that while intuitive eating is often idealized, it's by nature very exclusionary. Like it may be innate in a vacuum, but out in the real world, it actually requires specific physical, psychological, and environmental conditions that just aren't accessible to everyone. Not only does it alienate folks who do desire weight loss, but it may also just not be appropriate or possible for folks who are neurodivergent, managing an active eating disorder, have trauma history, are food insecure, or are taking medications or have health conditions that mess with normal appetite signaling.
So the majority of the population? Putting it out there. Hey, you know what helps with like most of those symptoms? Not all. Not all. I'm not going to pretend like it does with all. But you know what has been demonstrated to like help with a good chunk of those symptoms that you just listed there? GLP-1s. Oh, Jesus. Maybe you should change your stance on those. Crazy talk, I know.
I'm really just scratching the surface. I now have a much more moderate approach to intuitive eating.
Do you?
Like I really do think that all of the tenets can be incredibly helpful.
10 principles of intuitive eating. Reject diet culture. Abby, can you describe diet culture? Can you define for realsies diet culture? Not some weird, ambiguous, amorphous thing. I want a definition that I can sink my teeth into. Honor your hunger. Here's the problem with intuitive eating. Do you know when you're hungry?
the majority of us out there, do we know when we're hungry? That's the problem with intuitive eating. Do you know the difference between when you're hungry, when you're boredom eating, when you're emotionally eating? Do you know the difference between when you're thirsty and you're hungry? Because a lot of people don't know the difference between being thirsty and being hungry. Do you know when you're tired versus being hungry? Because a lot of people don't understand sometimes when they're tired, they're actually or when they're hungry, they're actually tired. So do you know these signals? Make peace with food. What the fuck does that mean? Discover the satisfaction factor. How? Most of the food that's on the market right now is literally designed so that you do not feel satisfied. There is no satiation factor with these foods. They are designed so that you do not feel satiated. Feel your fullness. Okay. Challenge the food police. Cope with your emotions with kindness. What? If I could do that, I wouldn't be emotionally eating, would I? Respect your body. Okay, I'm not going to intuitively eat. Joyful movement. I will stab the next person who says that word to me. I will, like in my head with little imaginary daggers, I will be stabbing you. Behind my eyes, the little imaginary people that live there, they will be stabbing you, just letting you know. What gentle nutrition? Anyway.
But you don't need to subscribe to all of them to get value. Now, that's not to say that we should like pick and choose the principles to the point where we are fully representing its values and calling it intuitive eating.
Really? Because it kind of sounds like that. Why can't I? You're kind of doing that with reality and science.
Like, I do truly cringe when I see wellness influencers share their 1,200 calorie weight loss diet and hashtag it intuitive eating. Because
why? Some people just want to intuitively eat 1,200 calories. Intuitive eating goes both ways. Sometimes you really should be eating more than 12. I mean, I personally believe you should eat more than 1,200 calories, but there are plenty of people in my comment section that will argue with me that I am wrong. Am I supposed to go be food police with them? Abby, am I supposed to do that? Am I supposed to go be food police with the people in my comment section that will swear up and down that they don't need to eat more than 1,200 calories? Is that what you're telling me I should go do? Because they are telling me that they intuitively don't need to eat more than 1,200 calories. Is that what you're telling me I need to go do? Because it sounds like that's what you just told me to go do.
that is co-opting an actual evidence-based framework.
It's not evidence-based. I want to see your evidence. It's funny. I don't see any links that show... you keep saying intuitive eating is evidence-based, and yet I don't see any links here showing that. You've got links showing that 10 to 25% of obese people are metabolically healthy, but I don't see any links showing me that intuitive eating has been scientifically backed. I'm sure in one of our other videos it is, and I just haven't watched it. I'm just being contrarian, I suppose. I don't know.
So that's why when I'm not talking about the intuitive eating framework as it was originally conceptualized in its
You know who came up with that?
entirety, I prefer to use terms like food freedom and body kindness. Because
See, I knew I got my notes all mixed up. Anyway, I've already gone over
we can
it.
make choices that support our goals in a way that still feels freeing, which is exactly the objective of my signature method, the Hunger Crushing Combo. Now let's move on to my views on alternative medicine or fringe diets, or really any approach that isn't really backed up by science.
You want to know why it's called alternative and fringe?
In the past, I would be really, really quick to dismiss anything without hard evidence as quackery. Unfortunately,
Hey, Colin. Hey, Colin. Colin. Hey, Colin. Colin. Hey. Hey. Hey, Colin. Hey, Colin. Hey. Hey. Do you still watch my videos? Do you still watch my videos, Colin?
it is kind of the way that a lot of us healthcare professionals have been trained.
I don't like how you're like grouping yourself in with like other healthcare professionals.
Because we follow
Are you and Karen Herbst friends?
a biomedical approach. But the problem with strictly following a 100% biomedical approach is you lose a lot of people and a lot of valuable practices in the process.
Like crystals? Like eating peach pits to fix lipedema?
The absence of evidence doesn't necessarily mean that something is BS.
Yes, it does. Carl Sagan said so.
It just means it hasn't been studied yet. And there are
The absence of evidence doesn't mean it's BS. It just means it hasn't been studied. This is disruptive reasoning. It creates mental fog. Individual claims are reframed as temporarily unverifiable. The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. People like to misquote... Ooh, flash flood warning. People like to misquote Carl Sagan a lot. That is not the quote. I mean, it is the literal quote, but is not how the quote was meant to be used. All right? Carl Sagan literally meant that without evidence, something cannot be proven. Not the reverse, which is how everyone likes to use it. Anyway, I used to teach that book. And Abbey is reframing the quote in her own little way so that she can move forward and be like, I like quackery because it makes me feel better. Because I do believe, because again, I've made my stance on intuitive eating. Y'all come for me. It's fine. If you can give me, here, let me put this here. If you can give me good links to good papers that can give me good science that shows that intuitive eating is actually scientifically backed, I will change my stance. I honest to God will. However, currently I do not have anything to change my mind on that. If you can provide that, I will change my opinion. Because that's how this shit works. I don't have that. And I do not trust Abbey as a source. So, this does not work. And it cannot be another fucking YouTube influencer that is going to change my mind on this. All right? So, that's not going to work either. I need actual papers with actual studies using actual studies. Like, I don't know how else to put that. I need science. Because otherwise, it's just Abbey going, intuitive eating is scientifically backed. Cool, Abbey, where's your papers? I don't need your name to be on the papers. I just need the papers. Because otherwise, you're just saying something and going, trust me, bro. And I don't. So... And when you do put papers in your little videos, you're using them incorrectly. So I definitely don't trust you. Anyway, I'm ranting.
There are a lot of factors that influence research. Research is often funded and prioritized.
Yes, please explain to me why I shouldn't trust scientific research, Abbey. Please explain to me why I shouldn't trust scientific research that doesn't back what you want it to say. Please explain to me why scientific research shouldn't be trusted, Abbey. Please do that for me. Please teach me to not trust scientific research so that I will only trust the shit that comes out of your mouth. God damn it, I'm angry. Oh, you win. Oh, you got me. God damn it, you got me. Gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be back. All right, I went to the bathroom. I got some jerky. Do you want a treat? If I give you a treat, will you quit? Stop. You don't get jerky. Come on.
prioritized by what the dominant scientific community deems relevant or interesting or what they can make money off of, which means...
Oh my God, I gotta back this up. Okay. Doesn't mean it's not BS. Just means it hasn't been studied yet.
And there are a lot of factors that influence research. Research is often funded and prioritized by what the dominant scientific community deems relevant or interesting or what they can make money off of, which means sometimes it can take years before a traditional practice or a natural practice that has been used for centuries is even looked at for efficacy. But that
Okay. Look, ma'am, if you want to placebo effect yourself, knock yourself out. I don't care. As long as you're not poisoning yourself, small children, or animals, I don't care. Okay? Do not come on here and be like, nobody studies that because there's no money in it. That's not how science works, my friend. Tell me that you don't know how science works without telling me you don't know how science works.
should not automatically discount its validity. Just take lemon water, for example. I used to be so fed up seeing all these influencers making these outlandish claims about lemon water detoxing you or causing weight loss, or I would just roll my eyes and say that's BS. But I've since learned, and trying to hone some skills here, that when you flat out dismiss someone's beliefs or lived experience, they are going to tune out everything
That is true.
you have to say. It's not people's. So with lemon water, I would probably explain how it is seen as a natural detox because it is basically water, and frame it just within how well it will move the needle compared to more accessible alternatives just like basic water. Now, it's important to know that there's a very big difference between alternative practices or products that are unlikely to do much other than waste your money and those that have the potential to harm, especially when they displace evidence-based treatments. And as a healthcare professional, my duty is to call out the grifters and make you aware of those very real risks. So while I am not against alternative medical practices, and I actually support many of them and believe in many of them and use many of them myself, you can absolutely still count on me to call out the raw milk or eating full sticks of butter or
Why would you eat full of sticks of butter?
using celery juice to cure cancer. I assure you, folks, there still must be a line. Now,
Why are we eating full sticks of butter? I mean, unless you really gotta go. Why are we doing this?
last but not least, I want to talk a little about my attitude
Let's talk about your attitude.
throughout the years. So one of the first videos that kind of put me on the map was a review of Freely the Banana Girl. It was actually my first introduction to like the what I eat in a day format that everyone kind of knows and loves. For that, I was mainly doing recipe videos.
Love is a strong word.
Like nutrition hacks. But I had so many people messaging me about her videos, and these were really
Because Freely is unhinged. Ooh. Thunder.
young, like 13-year-old girls telling me that they had been trying to eat her incredibly restrictive raw vegan diet because she's beautiful and she's thin. She credits her diet to that, but they had become so physically and psychologically sick from all of her suggestions and tips. So when I watched it as a fresh orthorexia recovery, I
Isn't orthorexia the one where you have to eat like... Never mind, I'll look it up.
was truly enraged. And people ate it up. Now, when I watched that video back, frankly, I'm a little bit embarrassed because I was a total and I own that. And unfortunately, as I alluded to earlier, the internet loves when people take a hard stand. So like snarky no BS Abby got big views. It's the same reason why this reaction to Gwyneth Paltrow's diet was my most viewed video in 2023.
What did Gwyneth Paltrow do?
Get emotional and angry, and like people will click on it because they feel the same way. It wasn't that I've been intentionally snarky or acting out emotions I didn't feel, but obviously this did encourage me to
I got so wrapped up I forgot my notes. Where are we at? Here we go. I was a total B word and I own that. That's the self-mythologizing feedback loop. She's owning her past harshness and it is becoming part of her heroic personal evolution. You know, you don't get a treat because you're being a butthead. Did you even taste it? There's the last one. So she is, again, this video is all about rebranding and showing that she's evolving and that she's reinventing herself for the rest of 2025. So this is new Abby, right? So this is all about her becoming a new her. So this is her owning her past. This is what's happening right here. Her self-mythologizing feedback loop. So she's hearing what her audience has said, what her audience says. She's listening. This is part of the parasocial loop. So she's heard what her audience has said, and she's owning that, right? So she's owning her past self, and she's using it to create a heroic image of herself going forward, right? Hi, nice to meet you. She's revisiting and disowning that past self but also maintaining her authority that it gained her. And this is part of Law 25, where she's recreating herself. There's still nothing in my hand, and that is still my coffee. And you still don't like coffee. There's nothing in my hand. Please don't bite me. Has she gotten to that? No, we haven't gotten there yet. So this is, like I said, this is all part of the reinventing herself phase that we are in this whole video. So she's just basically going back on her old past self. She's owning things and habits of herself. You know, I was very cringy. I'm very embarrassed of my behavior in that old Freely video, but I was angry because, you know, Freely was victimizing these young 13-year-old girls. Okay. So like in the past, I was championing for these 13-year-old girls. And even today, you know, I'm owning that, and it's still making me heroic, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's just part of her reinventing her identity, but yet still maintaining her authority as Abbey Sharp going forward.
Kind of play up this persona for a very long time.
But remember, we're going all the way back to the beginning of the video where she was basically blaming YouTube for the reason why she got stuck in the niche that she's in, this niche that she's in, and why she can't get out of this algorithm, right? And we're going all the way back to that. You know, everybody really liked my attitude, and YouTube loves to put angry videos out, and people respond to the angry videos. And so those are the videos that YouTube promotes, right? We're still blaming YouTube for our content, even though you're the one that edits it and puts it up.
But here's the truth. Anyone who knows me in real life can agree that I am a true empath.
Okay, anybody who tells me they're a true empath is not a true empath. Okay? You and Amber Lynn. But this is parasitic intimacy. This is her, again, trying to lure her audience into creating a relationship with her. We haven't seen her do this since she was like, go get your snacks and your coffee and let's all have a big powwow and talk about the tea. You know, she's inviting her audience in to become friends with her again. So this is, she is doing a lot of this throughout the entire video, where she's talking directly to the audience and she's inviting the audience into her space. And she's trying to, especially with new people, new viewers, she's really trying to build a rapport with her audience to create that parasocial relationship with her audience. That also goes into that self-mythologizing loop, because that loop only works if you have a parasocial relationship with your audience.
I am overly sensitive, and I try really, really hard not to rock the boat. All of these people perpetuating diet culture are victims of
This I am overly sensitive and I try not to rock the boat. Going back to Law 21, to play a sucker to catch a sucker, you need to seem dumber than your mark. She's downplaying her strategic performance to make critiquing her harder, right?
of the cycle themselves. And that means they deserve to be treated with empathy and respect. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable and corrected, because they absolutely should, especially because there are so many young people who are taking their advice. But my intention is never to shame them on a personal level. And as I've grown and found my voice, I've really tried to express that in my content. Science and sass will always be my thing, but I
That's an actual channel. You can't say that.
never want my sassiness to mislabel me as a mean girl. And
Well,
I think you'll continue to see that supportiveness in my content to come, especially over on my podcast Bite Back, where I have a lot more wiggle room to express nuance over just clickbait. And with that,
how so? It's still a podcast. She says, I've grown and I found my voice. Again, this goes to constructing her personal transformation arc, trying to earn continued loyalty from her audience. If you've been with me this long, you've watched me grow and find my voice. This is also part of that feedback loop. You would have had to have been with her from the beginning to see this develop. And then her science and sass will always be my thing, but I never want my sassiness to mislabel me as a mean girl. This is moral masking, more strategic performing. She's trying to distance herself from online aggression while still benefiting from it, right? I'm not a mean girl, but I'm sassy. No, sweetie, you're a mean girl. I've watched you tear people apart, specifically, again, thin white influencers, because you didn't like that they didn't eat a bajillion fucking calories of cake and cookies online. You're adorable.
folks, we have reached the end of the video. It felt like a little bit of a trip down memory lane for me to revisit like all my old videos and content. A little bit cringy, a little bit sad that I don't have my 20-year-old skin anymore. But if any
Trying to remember what my 20-year-old skin looked like. I had really bad acne when I was like in my teens. I think by the 20s it cleared up.
thing, it's really reminded me to be proud of both my personal and my professional growth over the years. Yes, I've been a dietitian for over a decade, but really like with any professional, those have been very valuable years of maturing, growth, and confidence as I found my footing and truly honed in on my message.
It's really reminded me to be proud of both my personal has she gotten there yet? Yeah, it's really reminded me to be proud of both my personal and professional growth. This is empathy mining. She's harping on her redemptive arc that implies hardship and endurance for a moral purpose. Everybody develops, like I said at the beginning, 10 years is a long time. I would hope you have changed in 10 years, especially since you begin your career. She began her career at 27. Like, if you're still the same practitioner at 27 as you are, stop that. You really are being bad. Lay down and quit it. You're cute. Lay down. You go over there and pout. Good. At least you'll lay still. Yes, I see that you're pouting. Anyway, where were we at? Anyway, yeah, so if you're the same, any field, if you're the same practitioner in your field that you were when you started, I would question a lot. Like, you haven't changed in 10 years? You've not learned? Like, you had to learn something in 10 years, right? So, like, Abby saying she's changed in 10 years, I mean, duh, I would hope. Seriously. So there's that. What you've learned and how you've changed, that's up to you. Like, that's the real question. Like, have you gotten better? Have you gotten worse? Like, have you grown in your morals? Have you devolved in your morals? 10 years is a long time. You can do a lot in 10 years.
And with that growth has also come with a deeper sense of responsibility to share information, acknowledge nuance, and to show up with empathy. So if you're an OG, thank you guys so much for sticking around. And if you are new here, I am really, really, really glad to have you. There's some really exciting things coming down the pipeline soon.
And that's just the parasocial relationship building thing. She's got her old people that she wants to maintain the relationship with. She's got the new people she wants to maintain her relationship with. Abby seems to be very personable, much more personable than I am. So there's that.
And if you want to learn more science-backed nutrition, I highly suggest checking out my podcast, Bite Back, every Tuesday.
I wouldn't. I don't have a person that I would send you to right now to go for like science-backed nutritional anything, honestly, because I don't really have anybody I'm listening to right now. I mean, I still listen to Diary of a CEO, and he occasionally has people on there. But to be honest with you guys, like, he gets people on there that I agree with. He gets people on there that I don't agree with. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I like listening to his podcast. He gets a variety of people on there, and sometimes I think they're weird, and sometimes I don't. So, you know, that's kind of the nice thing about listening to a podcast like that. But anyway, all right, that took me way longer than I meant for it to take. God, how long is this? Ugh. All right, I'm probably going to end up breaking this up into 2 pieces just because this is way too fucking long. But, so there's probably going to be a part 1 and a part 2 because I just refuse to have a 2-hour-long video. I'm sorry. But, yeah. All right, so if you've made it this far in this video in part, well, this will be the wrap up for part 2. So if you've made it this far in part 2, go ahead and put a naughty cat as your emoji down in the comments section. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I know I went off a couple times, but anyway. And you know what? What if you start doing a deep dive into this and you find out that you're wrong? You know, what if I start doing a deep dive into this and I find out I'm completely off base? Then I have to come back on here and pull this video and make an apology. And you know what? I don't really think that's necessarily the worst thing on the planet. But do I think that's going to happen? No. No. But anyway. All right. So your emoji is going to be a cat, a little cat, a naughty cat, down in the comments section, if you will. So let me know what you think about the second half of the video. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. I will probably do some more Abby content because I know she started putting videos out after this. And I'm interested to see how much she's actually changed, which let's put our skeptical hats on now. Let's put our skeptical hats on, please. Where's my skeptical hat? I need a skeptical hat. You guys let me know what you'd like to see as a skeptical hat, and we'll wear that. We'll take a page from Alex's graphically Alex's book, and we'll get a skeptical hat to wear. And yeah, we'll do that. And so we'll put that on when we watch Abby's videos. But you guys let me know what you think of this down below. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. These videos will go out to members first, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So if you are interested, we do have 3 levels of membership, and something I was going to say that I completely forgot. But anyway, I'm brain fried at this point. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see everybody in the next one.
This
Bye.
is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.